It's time to save this herd this days. Put on your cape and learn the phrase. It's TA with MK. It's TA with MK. Give me a B. Give me an I. Give me a G. Oh, sorry. Thought we were spelling Big Mac. Maybe I'm just hungry. Hello. Yes, can I take your order?
Big Mac.
Yo, I need a double cheeseburger and hold the lettuce. Don't be frontin', son, no seeds on the bun. Need some chicken up in here, in this hizzle. For Rizza, my bizzle, extra salt on the frizzle. Dr. Pepper, my brother, another for your mother. Double, double, super size, and don't forget the fries. Did you get that?
I'm so damn confused.
Sir, this is not a McDonald's. Oh, really? Well, in that case, we'll just take the Bitcoin. No, you can go ahead and take your big heads and get out of here. Wow. That was rude. Let's get ready to chart or trade something. I don't know. I really wasn't prepared for that, but welcome back to another episode of TA with MK. My name is McKay. In today's episode, we are going to discuss Bitcoin a little bit, the S&P 500, and two coins I'm watching. If you're liking the content, please remember to like and subscribe, and let's go. Alright, to start out today's video, we are going to begin with everybody's favorite X, SPX. Now this is the daily chart, and we're going to zoom in here in a minute, but it is Friday, meaning that the traditional markets closed a few hours ago, and they will be closed for the weekend. However, it did close out fairly bullish. Now, I discussed in the last couple of videos after we broke out of this large falling wedge, that I expected us to meet the resistance of these moving averages, especially this yellow 21 SMA. 200 SMA. That's the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. It just means it takes the average of the last 200 daily candles in this case, and that is the average price that it's at, right? Well, usually those act as some pretty heavy resistance. Now, the first day, this little candle here, if we zoom in, it did. I was a little worried. I was concerned that we could either pull back to this green box, or I mentioned option 2 would be that we could consolidate for a bit, then break higher. Well, SPX had different plans, and basically the next day it broke higher, then it retested. I mean, it did wick below a little bit, or candle closed below, but then yesterday we got another good green bullish candle, and then today we even got a candle that closed above my zone of resistance. So we're still in it, in my opinion, until we see what the next candle does on Monday. But I mean, that is the SPX S&P 500 bulls. Making quite a push to end this weekend out. And then quickly before moving on, this is the SPX, S&P 500 1-hour chart. I just wanted to mention that it's in this potential rising channel. Now, it only has 2 touches on either side, so it's not a super valid pattern. Just something worth tracking. Monday when we open up, I'm curious, do we potentially find some resistance right off the bat? Maybe retrace a bit. To me, anything that we can do in this red box that we bounce is bullish. It could be a double bottom potentially. Basically, if we come back down even to this bottom potential trend line and bounce, that's going to be bullish. Now, obviously, that if it's one full day of just retracing, maybe it won't be the best day of trading on Monday. But to me, if it bounces and starts heading higher, that's just going to look really good for stocks over the next week or so. So then we're going to hop over to this Bitcoin 1-hour chart. Now, what we're hoping for with Bitcoin, or we've been talking about, is we need to break this upper red zone of resistance. Now that's between 44,000 about 800 and basically 45,500, right? If we scroll out a little bit, that's been resistance back here once. Obviously huge reversal to the downside. Same zone, huge reversal to the downside. So what we're kind of looking for this time to not get stuck in yet another bull trap would be for this to break higher, for it to break up, retest, and push higher. Because otherwise, we have been putting in higher lows, but if we lose this zone, we fall back into this large rising channel rising wedge, that I've been tracking. So we break down lower, bearish retest, and start heading this way. We could easily find ourselves slowly trending back clear down here to say 40K, which would not be the end of the world. It would give a lot of things a chance to reset, indicators to cool off, etc., etc. But from the mega bullish standpoint, what we'd love to see is this to continue to consolidate like it's doing, kind of putting in another little rounded bottom, and eventually explosive move higher, retest, flip like 45,300 as support, and off we go. So we'll be keeping an eye on how that reacts with the SP 500 closing the way that it did. Let's just see what the weekend price action does. We've had a lot of bullish price action lately, so I think part of me just kind of expects us to have at least some sort of a minor pullback. But sometimes what you expect with Bitcoin is not, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, most of the time what you expect is not what you get. So we'll keep an eye on it. All right, and the first coin we're going to talk about today, or altcoin that is KLV, Clever Finance. Now, this is a coin I've brought up several times in the past. We've just been tracking this large falling wedge that it's been in, waiting for it to break out, and it's finally showing some signs of life. In fact, my first entry option would be, that I mentioned the other day, was for it to break out and then potentially retest back down here. You know, that's one spot to get in. So I am still waiting on that. I want to kind of see how this candle closes, but I even like the idea if it could flip this level right here at around 0.0, we'll say 2275 as support. I would even be willing to go 15% there. The measured move isn't real big for this pattern. You just take this kind of wider part of it, something up here roughly, drag it over here to the breakout. I mean, you're looking at, you know, a measured move somewhere up here around 38. Let's see what that would be from a gain standpoint from where it's at now. I mean, yeah, that'd be huge actually, 65%. But thing is, it's not going to happen all at once. I mean, these small cap coins on KUCOIN, sometimes it does. Sometimes you just get a few big buyers and then the bots start buying it up. But what would make more sense to me is that it does what almost all the other coins on KuCoin have been doing, where they're just kind of creating these large rounded bottoms. They break out of their wedges, right? And then they just kind of start respecting the parabola. I'm going to show you another coin in a minute that kind of is ahead of this one. It is a smaller cap than this one, but this is still a pretty small cap too. But what you could see, or what I could potentially see happening, is that this hits this, you know, resistance, trends back down, comes back and tests this little parabola somewhere around like 20 would be a good entry, 0.020, 0.021 would be a good entry right now, I feel like, as long as Bitcoin cooperates. You know, then you might get another little impulse wave higher, another good entry point, impulse wave higher, entry point, you know, and the bigger move is going to be when it finally breaks this area. But, you know, Bitcoin will obviously have to play along, but keep your eye on KLV. Now, quickly, I just want to show you a small cap coin called Dreams. This is a metaverse play to earn coin. This is not one of the two coins I was talking about, or going to talk about today. Just want to kind of show you what I mean as far as, so you have this falling wedge here, right? Now, this is not a daily pattern. This is only a 4-hour, but it just kind of shows you what I mean. It breaks out. You know, you can get a pretty big impulsive wave. Now, this coin's like 1.4 million market cap, so it doesn't take much money at all to pump this thing. But, you know, you got this good little move out of there, and then you just started getting these little pumps back to this little parabola it was forming, and then it just recently broke my zone of resistance. So, I mean, this is a coin I'm tracking. I just didn't want to really talk about it too much in depth today because it's already kind of been moving, and it's a lot higher risk maybe than the other one that I'm going to bring up. So, moving on. And the last coin I want to talk about today is API3. This is a Web 3.0 coin. It's a coin I brought up the other day, but I wanted to bring it up again just because the more and more I look at its price action and its chart, I like it. I can't help it. If I like something, I like it. All right, deal with it. But no, like, I'm just looking back here and seeing that, okay, previously before its huge pump, it had this large rounded bottom of consolidation. You know, first you get kind of like a falling wedge to a degree, just like we've talked about on all my other charts. Breaks out. Sometimes they have explosive moves right off the bat, and other times they just kind of start forming this little parabola, which is really, it is just accumulation. It's just smart money buying it. In fact, smart money buys it down here, of course, but you know what I mean. They're trying not to pump the price too much, because where the coin really gets the attention is once it finally breaks major resistance, right? That's when all the FOMO kicks in and you get this wick. This is not a smart money wick, right? But I know that's more than one wick, but what I mean to say is that price action from this point up, that's not smart money anymore. That's retail FOMO. And we're kind of getting the same thing right now. We had another little falling wedge that it broke out of recently, a couple decent little pumps, just been kind of accumulating and forming yet another large rounded bottom. Now, the breakout zone for that, to me, is basically right up here around 570. There's also the 200 moving average that's right there. It will be acting as resistance. Now, that's the zone that, you know, if you can look for a break, retest, entry, go. But any pullback should get to this little parabola line. If you can get something, anything down back near $5, anything below that, hop right on it, I would say, unless Bitcoin's, you know, falling down to the bottom of the ocean or something. But I would say a pullback to $15 right now would be a good entry, $5. But if you just want to be patient at this point and wait to be some of the retail FOMO, but at least be smart enough to take profits, you can wait for the support resistance flip of this zone at about 570, and you could probably ride that up to at least $7. I would say that would be a pretty easy pump. 570 to $7 can be expected. It probably happened relatively quick as well, and that's a nice little. It's a 25% gain. If Bitcoin were to stay bullish, of course, this thing's got potential to go back up to, prices it was at, which would be about a 70% from here, back up to like 970, 965. This isn't really a pattern that's valid that I just had drawn it just in case, but, potentially this thing could even go all the way up to, $13 or $14. So, but we'll just take it one level at a time, but definitely keep your eyes on API. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That's it, boys and girls. If you're enjoying the content, please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. It's TAWITHMMK.